In today's episode, I thought I'd give you a quick whistle tour of the farm. So in here, we've got our Golden Guernsey goats, the Royal Golden Guernsey. So checking them, what we need to do is making sure they're in good condition. They haven't got lice or any insects on them. They're getting plenty of grub. So in the shed there, they've got hay. So we walk amongst all of the animals, make sure they're feeding and they're fit and healthy. And the goats in here look great. The donkeys over there are looking in fine order as well. And then over here, we've got Lexy, our Suffolk Punch. So she loves an apple. And of course, autumn is the time for picking apples. I love blackberry apple pie. So if anybody's buying apples in the supermarkets at the moment, I hope you're not buying French or New Zealand apples. You need to be buying British apples. So we've got a fantastic apple industry here. And Lexy certainly likes these ones out of my garden. But you may already know that Lexy is heavily pregnant. The gestation period of a horse being about 12 months. And so she's halfway through her pregnancy. She'll be giving birth in May, June next year. And she's looking great. She's in perfect order, I would say. I know, aren't you lovely? There you go. You want some? Okay, so that's the donkeys, goats, and the Suffolk. Let's go and look at some cattle. So on the Cotswold Farm Park, we've got all our rare breeds of cattle. But out on the main commercial farm, we've got this bit of scrubland. That's a bit of an oasis. It's in the middle of the rest of the farm. And it's some scrub and rough pasture that we're grazing with our cattle that are too young to go to the bull yet. And this area is known as the cemetery. I don't know why, it must have been some ancient cemetery at one time. So with the husbandry of cattle, of course, at this time of year, they can live off grasses and in here a bit of scrub as well. They need good solid fencing to keep them in. For cattle, you can get away with 3 or 4 strands of barbed wire. Of course, if there were sheep or goats in here, they'd nip under the bottom. So just cattle in this field, a good solid gate that's always shut, and then over here, a water supply. So of course, like us, all animals need fresh water in front of them at all times, and this water supply comes from cattle sheds just down the track there. And then in here, what I'm looking at as the person who's checking these animals today is, have they got enough to eat? Is there enough grass left? Is there enough forage on the trees left? And they're pretty much getting into it. I'd say we need to move them out of here in the next day or two. Come on! Come on! Come on! Come on! Livestock people call animals all over the world. Doesn't matter whether you're in Africa or Switzerland or the UK. Often calling animals like this works, and here they come. So what we've got here are 2 Highland heifers, so young females. We've got some Albions and some Gloucesters. I know they're all here, so I'll just give them a little bit of grub so that they'll come back next time I call them. There's good girls. So in an area like this, these native sort of traditional rare breeds really thrive. They can live off this rough pasture. They'll be browsing at these bushes, eating the tender leaves off them. And for my stockmanship skills, what I'm doing is looking at the quality of the animal. So making sure they've got a good condition on them. They've got plenty of meat and they're not getting too skinny. They're all walking well, so they're not lame. Their eyes are nice and bright, so they're fit and well. So you need to check over every animal and make sure it's okay. And very quickly like this, when you feed them and get them up close, I can see that they're all looking in fine order. Looking pretty good, aren't you? So they all look really good. We'll leave them in here for another few days, bring them back to a field that's got plenty of grass in it next to a cattle shed. They can pretty much stay out all winter unless the weather gets really bad. And then because the shed is right there, we can bring them in if we need to. So all good here. On the way out, I've just noticed these sloes. Sloes are the fruit of the blackthorn bush. I can then come and pick them and make sloe gin or sloe vodka. And what you want is them to be frosted before you make the vodka or gin. Some people pick them, put them in a bag and put them in the freezer and that frosts them. But you can just wait for the natural frost to get them, then pick them, prick each one with a pin, into the vodka or the gin with the same amount of sugar and then leave it for 12 months. So these are lovely, those sort of hedgerow spirits for Christmas time. So what you make now will be ready for Christmas 2026. So you have to think a long way ahead. While I'm out checking all the livestock, it's a good time to take the dogs for a walk. And so, come on then. Yeah, Olive, yeah, come on. Yeah, Olive, good dog. Come on then. So like all of the cattle and sheep and goats, etc., it's really important to look after your dogs well, and they need plenty of exercise. And we're very lucky to live on a big farm, and taking the dogs out on the farm is a real treat. And today my wife's away, so usually the house dogs, so little Hilda, Olive and Minnie, my wife would take for a walk, but today I've said I'll do it. Olive, here, good dog. Gwen's obviously out working around the sheep all the time, but these little ones need some exercise, don't they? Come on then. Come on. Good dog. It's a beautiful view here with all the autumnal colours. Those little white dots are the sheep I need to check next. So I'll put the house dogs away, and that's when Gwen comes into her own. Olive, here. In these two quite big fields, we've got a crop called sainfoin that stays in for 4 or 5 years, and we grow it as forage, so we silage it, and then we feed that silage to the cattle and sheep in the winter months. We also harvest the seed, and then the pink flowers produce lots of pollen and nectar. We have a bee farmer here who has his hives of bees, and it produces a lovely honey. And what we do at this time of year is we graze it with our commercial sheep. And because it's an arable field, it's not fenced, so we use this electric fencing. So these strands have got wire running through them that are attached to a battery that's putting electricity through this wire, that if the sheep touch it, gives them a little shock and they stay in the field. And we just have to check it, so it's fallen out of the post here, and because it's electric, I'm just going to put it with my rubber welly, which of course doesn't conduct electricity, poke it back in where it should be, and then put the stake in, and that's fine. So what we don't want is the bottom wire touching the grasses, and that shorts it out and reduces the amount of power going through the fence. Now I'm going to go in and check the sheep, which they've seen the dog and run to the other end of the field. So I'll get Gwen. She's learnt by mistakes that this is electric fences and can give you a bit of a zap. So I'll just pick her up and we'll step over the fence. And now we're safe. So this winter grazing, this sainfoin, and it's got some grass in it as well, is a perfect crop for them to be grazing at this time of year. So I mentioned in the previous episode about ewes getting in good condition so that they ovulate and then conceive lots of rams. Some of our rams are already out with the ewes, but the rams go in with this flock next week. And they were very lean after that droughty summer where we just ran out of grass. And this has really helped pull them back into good condition, and now they're spot on to go for tupping, for the rams going in with the ewes. And there's plenty of grub out here for them still, so they'll last out here probably for another month. What we want them to do as a job for the crop is to graze it down, open it up, so there's plenty of light in it when the spring comes, and then this sainfoin will grow away, and so there'll be plenty of it there for us to harvest for forage, to make into silage. So right, I'll just send off Gwen round these sheep. Stand, away. So just bringing the flock towards me so I can get a closer look at them. So her walk-on whistle. That's Gwen walking up behind them now, doing a good job. And here they come. These are our commercial ewes. These are Romney clean crosses. So they've all been crutched out, the wool away from their back ends, keep them nice and clean, so for when the ram mates with them, but also that'll stay fairly clean of wool now right through to lambing time, so the lambs have got a clean entry into the world. And looking at them now, I can just see that they've put on plenty of weight. They're in much better condition than they were. Away, away. Well, there we are. We've seen our Royal Golden Guernsey goats, our donkeys, Lexy the Suffolk Punch, some of our cattle, and now some of our sheep. And so, if you want to know anything more about animal husbandry and how to look after various types of livestock, then leave a message in the comments. And if you've enjoyed the episode, then like, subscribe and ring the bell. Come on Gwen, that'll do.